Howdy folks, I'm Keen Katahdin Arctic, kindly knitting killer knitwear.
I'm Amber.
And here's more killer knitwear for us to knit, except for it isn't at all, it's just some Reddit. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see the end of the video. But let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling My Son My Favorite Child? I'm a 23-year-old male, and I have a 1-year-old with my girlfriend, a 25-year-old female. And she has a 5, almost 6-year-old from a previous relationship. One day, my girlfriend, our son, and I were sitting on the bed, and I kept saying, "You're my favorite child." This is something that I've said numerous times before, and have added how I'm allowed to say it because he's my only child, but this time my girlfriend looked upset, so I asked what was wrong. And she said that it bothers her that I call my son my favorite child, and that she doesn't want our daughter to be offended, and thinks that I should think of her daughter as my own and treat her as such. Well, I told her that I would never say it in front of her daughter, and of course I would consider her daughter to be like my own, and I consider her as my stepdaughter, even though legally she's not that yet. She said that if I plan to marry her, then she needs me to take treating our daughter as my own seriously and break the habit before I accidentally say it in front of her. I honestly think that she needs to chill a little because it doesn't seem that serious to me to call my only child my favorite one, and once again, I would never say that in front of her daughter, who I do love and cherish as though she were my own. She wasn't happy by this and said that her and her daughter are a package deal and that she needs me to treat her daughter like my own. Am I the jerk for calling my son my favorite and not wanting to stop? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. OP, first of all, you have 2 children. It does not matter if one of them is not blood related to you. If you cannot treat that child as your own, you should not be in the child's life. So, secondly, why do you feel the need to keep saying this out loud? Why are you always saying it? Like, it seems very strange to me that you keep telling this kid. I understand he can't understand at this age, but like, why do you feel the need to keep telling him that he's your favorite?
Well, you know, I do think that they're not married yet and things could end and the relationship could go sour and he could not be in the daughter's life as a permanent fixture. But I think that it's a little cruel and callous to say these kinds of things, especially when there's a chance that the daughter could overhear these things, right? Certainly, like some people try to maintain a little bit of a neutrality when it comes to children and, you know, having a favorite one and stuff like that. I don't think that it's going to help him endear himself to the daughter if he's over here talking about the child, his son, like it's his favorite child. And then to complicate matters further, you know, if he says this enough, one, she might overhear, whether or not he plans on saying it to her face. And two, the son, he might just have it rub off on him, right? And even if he doesn't say it, eventually when he's a toddler or a kid and he's picking these things up, he's going to say it to his sister, I'm my dad's favorite or something like that, right? So I think he's setting himself up for failure here if this is going to be a long-term relationship.
Right, and I think that the girlfriend is absolutely right here, that he needs to either start accepting the daughter as his child or the relationship needs to end, but he cannot treat the daughter as, you know, second fiddle.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he should be treating them both fairly and equally. It sounds like he loves her a lot, and I think that he needs to understand how would she feel if she accidentally overheard this. Like, what happens if she came in, you know, or was hanging around the corner of the bedroom when he was saying these things, right? Like, maybe she's supposed to be in bed, but how many times have kids that age not gone to bed when they're supposed to? And I mean, it's one of those things where I think it's just a little too easy for her to overhear this, you know?
Well, and I think even if she never hears it, he needs to stop doing this because, again, like, that creates this thing in his mind. It creates separation between the two children.
Yeah.
It reinforces that only one of the children is his when, again, if you are raising children in a household, you have to see them as yours, both. Like, you can't, it's going to lead to favoritism and resentment.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Just a little jerk. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think that this is a pretty jerky move in the scheme of things.
I mean, I guess it's not that big. I guess it is a little bit of a jerk move because, like, the daughter hasn't overheard it or anything.
Well, but I mean, I think it tells you about his general attitude that he does not see the daughter as his. And, I think it's very clear that he has to reiterate over and over again that the son is his favorite child. This is his kid, and the daughter is just kind of chopped liver.
Yeah, I think he has room to improve, for sure. But I might actually think the wheel is onto something. Maybe he is just a small jerk here.
Yeah, I think it's deeper rooted.
Let us know what you folks think. And Powerful Horror 987 says, you're the jerk, and this may seem harmless when it's just you and your son, but think about the message that it's sending to him when he considers his status in relation to a step-sibling and his mother. This is damaging for all involved. And OP replies, he doesn't have a stepmother. My girlfriend is his biological mom, and her daughter is his half-sister. And Bitter Animator says, so your bio child will already be picking up on the favoritism, and you'll be surprised when the stepkid will already know that she's not on the same level of love or care that you provide. You're the jerk. Get your stepkid in therapy. You're just going to be another person who fails her. And OP replies, who's the other person that failed her? I feel like that's a bit extreme to suggest that I'm going to have to put her into therapy. And Scarlet, not that one, says, you're the jerk. There are so many other ways to tell your child that you love them without throwing shade on your other child or children. Find one. I mean, I think that right there is key. There are a lot of ways of telling kids that you love them without diminishing.
I mean, he literally could just be like, I love you. And again, that gets tricky if you only see it to one kid, but well,
he can also be like, oh, you're my favorite son. And if he says to his daughter, oh, you're my favorite daughter, right? There's no other son and daughter at that point.
At the moment. Yeah. But what if he has a bio daughter? Then he's going to stop telling, I don't think telling kids you're my favorite unless you're absolutely sure you're done having kids is a good idea.
It might not be. And John Redcorn Massage says, you're the jerk. That poor little girl is absolutely going to overhear it if you keep saying it. And especially at that age, it's going to be absolutely devastating to her. You're clearly lying about how I consider her daughter to be my own. If that were true, you wouldn't keep saying that you only have one child. You signed up for this. The kid is part of the deal. Treat her better. You need to fix your attitude and step up. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My husband said that no man wants a daughter. The other week, me, a 22-year-old female, and my fiancé, a 26-year-old female, got into a pretty big argument. On the way back from grocery shopping, future children were brought up. I mentioned how I would love to have a little girl. Instead of agreeing or saying something joyful, he quickly said how he would be disappointed and how he wants a son. I knew that he had always wanted a son, but I didn't think that a daughter would be a disappointment. He then compared a daughter to a son like getting a handmade automatic car compared to a manual new car. I guess he sees daughters as inferior? Well, we went on for a bit. When I asked why he really wanted a son, he says, I don't want my bloodline to end, and if I have a daughter, it'll end with her, with my family name. I was speechless. He's not royalty or anything like that, so I'm not sure where bloodline is considered important. We reached home, and I ignored him for a bit. It then blew up. I tried to be reasonable and maybe come to a resolution, and he kept shouting and mocking me. It reached a pinnacle where he shouted, what man wants a daughter? I walked out of the house because I had some unsavory things that I wanted to say. I left to go to work, and while driving, I received a barrage of texts saying how he's cutting my car off the insurance since I'm being so childish. That evening, he apologized, and I thought that we had made some progress when it comes to communication. Well, flash forward a week later, and I'm at work doing my thing when I receive a message from him saying how the car's battery is dead. For some context, I have two cars. He has one. His car was at the garage, so he's been borrowing one of mine for a couple of weeks. I spoke with my coworker, and she said since it's quiet, I can finish early so he can get my other car so he can get to work. We then did some talking, and he agreed that if I head back early, he would run me to work so I don't miss out on hours. My coworker was also happy to drop me off at home. He messaged me saying that if I head home now, he can drop me back off at work. So I head home and call him once I'm outside, and I say, hey honey, I'm outside, where are you? And he snapped at me, I'm nowhere near ready, you come inside, I'm not going out. Despite my inner urge just to drive back to work after that attitude, I park up. I call to him when I'm in the house, and I sit down on the sofa to wait. Well, 10 minutes pass, and then he storms down the stairs, sees me, snaps at me, and says, "Geez, thanks for helping. Nice of you to help out when I'm in a pinch." I was very confused by his attitude, and also the fact that letting him use both of the cars is not considering helping in a pinch. We got into the car, and I'm baffled, and I try to talk calmly why he's so worked up. I'm then barked at with words along the lines of, "I'm going to be late for work and you didn't even help me. I had to rush to shave. You could have packed my lunch while I was getting ready." I was genuinely shocked. He then continued to yell at me in the car and mock me. I just don't get how he doesn't see this as weird. Well, whenever we have arguments like this, he always ends up making me feel like it's my fault for not always being able to know what's going on. I know that I'm far from perfect and I've made mistakes, but I would never treat him how he's treating me at the moment. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, and everything I do is being scrutinized and judged, and that no matter what I'm doing, it's not enough. I just don't know if he's really being a jerk or if I'm being oversensitive. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. OP, I think it's probably time to walk from this relationship. This post is just giant red flag after red flag after red flag.
Yeah.
He does not respect you as it stands. The way he treated you over the whole car incident, expecting you to read his mind and like pack him a lunch and everything, like, no, none of that was okay. He could have asked you if you could help, if he really wanted your help, but you're not a mind reader, and that was uncalled for. And absolutely don't have kids with him. There are plenty of guys who would are perfectly happy to have daughters, who love their daughters, who would not trade them for any other child. You are getting a look into your future because you cannot control what kid you have. So if you have a daughter with him, this poor child would be neglected and treated as inferior in your household. I mean, his whole attitude toward OP, I think, very clearly shows his attitude toward women and girls in general.
Yeah, I think there are two separate issues at hand here, right? The first issue is that he's kind of sexist and misogynistic and thinks that a daughter is inferior because she can't carry on his family name. Now, you know, the thing is that he's not royalty. Like, why is it so important for him to keep his family name going, type of thing? Like, certainly it's nice to have some pride in your family and stuff like that, but I mean, like, it's not like super important that he keeps his family name going. And the thing is that his daughter will have half his DNA anyways.
Right, so his bloodline would still be going, but like, it's 2025. People can do whatever they want with their names. You know, it's not like women are automatically forced to give up their last names when they marry.
And what happens if the son does that, right? Gives up their last name when they get married.
Right, or doesn't have children or anything like that. It puts a lot of pressure on the son to go on and propagate keep the bloodline going with the family last name.
And I just think that that's unreasonable. You can't expect your child to have children. You can't force your child to have children. And then the second issue is him being a child himself. I mean, he had all this time to get ready. And what was he doing? Just sitting around waiting for you to get home before he even started to get ready? I'm sure that it didn't take OP less than 10 minutes to drive home, right? So he's been getting ready for 20 minutes? I don't know how long it takes someone to get ready in the morning here, right? But the whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me, because was he late already?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if he hadn't packed his lunch already, that was on him. Like, he was going to need a lunch to go to work anyway.
Yeah. So what was he expecting to happen? Like, so he found out the car's battery died, and then suddenly he wasn't ready for, work. There's just so many things here that just don't make any sense to me. It just feels like he was looking for something to snap at OP at, and I don't know.
He's an abusive person. That is very clear. Blatant verbal abuse and manipulation, the way he turns things on OP, it makes her feel bad when she's not able to read his mind, because that's literally not something people can do.
Yeah. So I would think that OP should get out of this relationship as soon as possible. This is not a healthy relationship. You do not have shared values. And even if you had shared values, the way he's treating you right now is completely unfair and it's abusive. And so I think that OP would be best to get out of this relationship as soon as possible. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Niece That Her Mother Tried to Give Her Away as a Baby? I'm a 28-year-old male, and I got into a huge argument with my sister, a 31-year-old female, last week. The argument had been simmering for a long time, as tension between us has been high for years. When I was 17, my sister had an accidental pregnancy, and when she told her boyfriend, he left. Due to our religious family, she kept the baby, but once her daughter was born, she panicked. She didn't want to go through the legal troubles of adoption, so she asked that me and our mother take care of her kid. There was no legal custody, but it was an agreement made within the family. I essentially raised my niece from birth until she was about 3, with the help of my mother, as she was working to support the new addition to the family. I dropped out of school to take care of her, fed her, changed her, and I taught her how to walk while my mom was away at work. Then my sister met her now husband, cleaned her life up, and suddenly wanted her kid back. No warning, she moves back to home and says thanks and starts being a mother. My niece is now 11 and doesn't remember all that I and her grandmother did. It's been a family agreement to forget all this happened until the argument. Well, my sister made a petty comment during a fight where she implied that since I lost my job recently, I can't handle responsibility. I snapped and I told her that she was lucky that her daughter was too young to remember how she abandoned her. My niece overheard this and now wants to know what I meant. I outright said that her mother didn't think that she could raise her and left her with me and her grandma. Now my sister says I traumatized her daughter, and my mom says that I should have kept the secret like we agreed. I think that this secret couldn't stay kept forever, so am I the jerk? Edit, hello, I'm here to give some more context and answer a bunch of the common questions. When the argument happened, I had put my niece to bed hours ago, and we were at my mother's house, and so no one knew that she was going to come in. And secondly, after my niece was born, my sister moved states to get a job. Also, she was 20 and I was 17. And finally, in the aftermath, I said that we can't go back now since my niece already overheard all of us talking. So as a group, with her stepfather, we should get together and explain it better. But since the event a week ago, my sister has been saying that we should let it blow over and that my niece will forget if we don't bring it up again. I'm frustrated by this and how she's now slighting me alongside my mother. My mother believes that I'm in the wrong for arguing with my sister in the first place, whereas I say that she has no right to criticize me for losing my job when I lost education for caring for her child. I'm trying to get in contact with my niece's stepfather to ask for his opinion. Edit 2. Yes, I was asked by my mom to drop out of school, and I did. I didn't go to college later. I had no intention of hurting my niece, but she had already overheard what was said, so I felt like keeping it from her now would just cause her confusion. I'm now trying to backpedal the best that I can with the family's assistance to be able to properly explain the situation to her. But my sister and mother want to pretend that this never happened and hope my niece forgets it as she grows up. Edit 3, I'm starting to wish that I was clear from the beginning. I said that I was 17 when my sister had the accidental pregnancy. I meant that I was 17 when the baby was born. All right, folks, what do you think?
I'm gonna say mostly not the jerk. I do think everyone is a little bit in the wrong for keeping this from the niece for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was important that she be told this a long time ago. OP had no way of knowing that she would overhear, though. I can't fault him for snapping back at his sister when she is being so rude to OP after OP was essentially forced to give up his education to take care of her child. So the sister's a major jerk here. The mom is a jerk for being complicit in keeping the secret.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
It's a sad situation. I mean, like, the fact that they're hiding this makes it seem like it's shameful and everything like that. Sometimes people need time to grow and to figure out what they can do to be a parent, right? Sister wasn't ready to be a parent at that time, and so OP and their mother were able to open up their home and their lives to take care of this child for a few years. And certainly I can understand when you finally have everything together and you're ready to be a parent, why you would want your child back in that situation. So I can't blame her for wanting to raise her child and taking that burden off of OP, right? She's out of line, though, with saying that the brother is irresponsible, right? Mm-hmm. Like, again, part of the reason why OP is in the position that they are is because he had to give up his education, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that OP should be, praised, not scolded here.
Right. It seems like the sister just wants to make everyone forget that anything ever happened and that she was ever uh, irresponsible. Like, and maybe this is even some, rubbing it in OP's face or projection on her part, calling him irresponsible. So, I feel bad for the niece in all of this. I think that's important that they all be open and honest now.
Yeah.
And, it's not a bad thing. Like, OP and, OP's mom loved the niece enough to raise her as their own for those 3 years. And I think having more loving adults in your life is not a bad thing. And it sounds like OP is still really involved in the niece's life if he's still the one tucking her into bed. So...
It sounds like OP was actually really attached to her and was a bit resentful that the niece was taken away. And I can understand that. And I think that that's a fair position. And it does sound like OP is still involved in the niece's life and still is doing things for her. I think that it's important for the niece to know on some level. And I think these people are delusional to think that the niece is going to forget this at age 11. I mean, come on, really? Maybe she was going to forget it at age 3, maybe. Like, I mean, I have memories from when I was 3, right? And so I have memories from when I was 2 or 1 even, right? So maybe not everyone does, but I'm surprised that she doesn't remember those things as is,
Well, I'm surprised they don't have has she never seen any of her childhood photos, or did they only have posed ones where the sister came home for certain holidays, or...
Yeah. So, again, I see OP's resentment. I understand their situation. I think it's an unfortunate accident. I don't think that OP meant harm by it. They weren't trying to hurt the sister. They were just trying to say, look, the reason why I'm behind in life is because I was helping you. Don't, rub this in my face thing, right? It's an unfortunate accident. I don't think there was malice here, but I also don't think that this is as scandalous as everyone's trying to paint it, right?
Well, but it hurts the sister's image as the perfect one.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
Which construction vehicle is the sleepiest?
Oh, I would say it's the Bulldozer.
Yep.
Because it dozes off. And, when you say you are dozing, it means that you are putting your head onto a rock like bulldozers do and resting while your motor idles.
Not quite, but anyway.
That's how I rest.
It's National Hammock Day.
So if you're a bulldozer, go find yourself a bulldozer-sized hammock and rest in it.
It'd probably be very, very well reinforced.
I don't think you need to reinforce it at all. Go for it. Sleep your dreams away. I don't know what that means. And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Terrific Tuesday, spelled TWO. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. We hope to see you then. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, pretty please, have it on bad parenting stuff.
If you can't accept a child of any gender, then you shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!